Hey everyone. Real quick disclaimer before this review begins. All thoughts are my own and my original thoughts. I was sent these paddles for potential with a review, not necessarily with a review being guaranteed, more to try them out, share my thoughts, and share my opinions and feels on how they play and how they perform in today's current pickleball market. With that being said, I do want to emphasize that I will remain unbiased and share my own opinions and thoughts on the paddles and those alone. At times, I might compare my opinions, maybe to those of other reviewers. Say if a video or a paddle has already been launched and it's a review after launch. But if it's a review before or of the day of launch of a paddle, those thoughts will be my own and my own alone. All right. Finally, I am not being paid to do this review. Typically, I will have either an affiliate's code, a discount code, or an affiliate's link, usually in the description of these videos or in the comments or in the bio somewhere on the video. Regardless, I will also try and share these in the beginning of each video. With that being said, I hope you enjoy this and enjoy the video. So the 11Six24 Alpha Pro Power paddle line, also known as the APP paddle line. Let's chat. 11Six24 Alpha Pro Power paddle line comes in with much lower swing weights, better twist weights, and better static weights than the previous power line predecessor. And to me, that was pretty much one of the biggest things I noticed with these. These also come with 10 millimeter core cell sizes, as opposed to their predecessors. And they come in this new white and black colorway without the gradient edge guards. For reference, here is the alpha version of the Vapor for the Alpha Pro Powers. It's the same thing, just with different colors. This is the pre-launch colors, still with the gradient here, and then this is the Pegasus in the final colors. So let's talk a little bit about the numbers. First of all, here are the stats. As you can see, the Pegasus comes in at a swing weight of 104 with a twist weight of, mine came just under 7 on the twist weight. So I have it as a 6, but it's really pretty much a 7. And a static weight is 7.9. My Vapor came in with a swing weight of 107, a twist weight of 7, and a static weight of 8 ounces, although it felt a lot lighter than 8 ounces. And my Hirachi X came in with a swing weight of 113, which also felt lighter than its swing weight, a twist weight of 6, and a static weight of 8 ounces. Now, when I say lighter, like I mentioned there, I mean these felt really light in the hand compared to the Power Series. I, in particular, put my most time on the Vapor for both the Power Series and the Alpha Pro Power Series. And that alone, it was a night and day difference, in my opinion, in swing weight and weight and feeling in the hand. The old Powers just felt really dense to me. Like they almost felt like 18 to 20 millimeter paddles. Whereas I found that these felt a lot more like your regular 16 millimeter paddle, and they felt really good. So my personal preference in this paddle line fell heavily towards the Vapor. I did enjoy my time with the Pegasus. I just think personally, when it comes to this specific line of paddles, why grab a Pegasus when you can grab a Vapor? As you can see here, they're about identical size. You get a little more length with the Vapor, and you get just a smidge. It's not that much more width with the Pegasus. I will say the Pegasus is a lot poppier than the Vapor, especially the APP version of it, as opposed to the Power version. I did put a good amount of time on one of my friends' broken in Pegasus power paddles and a broken in Hirachi power paddle, as well as my version of the APPs and my 2 versions of the Vapor for the APP. And I prefer the APP versions of both of these. When it came to the Hirachi, I actually spent my least amount of time on that paddle, but I did enjoy it. I found it was a bit of a cannon. Um, I really never found the right setup for me with that paddle yet, personally. But here's Pat to talk about his experience with the Hirachi X and with the other Alpha Pro Power paddles.
Thanks, Dawson. So I'm Pat, as he said. Just want to be clear, this would be my first real paddle review. I did a kind of small comparison video of these Pro Power paddles versus a pretty popular power paddle that's out there today. My first thoughts on these Alpha Pro Power Series paddles was just right out of the bag, completely stock. My first thought was how incredibly light these all felt. I have here with me just a Hirachi X, Alpha Pro Power, and the Alpha Pro Power Vapor. I do have the Vapor Power here just for comparison. I know Dawson talked a little bit about the gradient edge guard. I'm curious what people's thoughts are on the difference, if they like the older color scheme or they like the new one. I like them both, so it's hard for me to say definitively, but with that being said, obviously there's a lot more that goes into these paddles than how they look, right? I mean, the biggest thing is how do they hit, how do they feel, you know, what's the spin, control, power, etc. You guys all know what we're talking about here, and I know Dawson gave you the stats. So for my thoughts on just hitting these paddles, like I said, super light. I definitely added some customization to increase that swing weight. I'm still trying to figure out what works, but I do appreciate them coming in light and giving you the ability to customize them to the extent that they do. I'd rather have a light paddle that I can add or take stuff off of as opposed to a paddle that just comes in, you know, on the heavier side. I feel like I don't have as many options to add, obviously. So as far as, you know, kind of the basics, I feel like it's a pretty consistent sweet spot. And I will just say, like, most of my hitting time has been on the Hirachi X and the Alpha Pro Power. I did hit a little bit on the Pegasus, but like Dawson touched on, I just feel like if you're going for more of that standard shape, I feel like the Vapor is pretty much just as similar as the Pegasus, but you're getting a little more advantage with just that little extra reach. Just my thoughts, I'm definitely more of an elongated paddle person over the years. So having to, or getting to hit these paddles with Dawson, I've ended up hitting a lot more wide bodies or standards than I ever had. So yeah, so I'm basically just going off of my hit time with these two paddles specifically. But power is definitely, I'd say, like on the lower tier of power paddle. It took, I feel like it took maybe 4 or 5 hours for them to like completely open up, but I'm still trying to figure out how to kind of get a little more control. There was a couple instances where I felt like, you know, I'm just hitting a reset and it's kind of flying off the paddle a little bit. I will say I'm not as used to the Gen 3, Gen 4 type paddles, like, you know, adding the foam. I'm still trying to figure out how to kind of, you know, tie that in with the control element. But outside of that, I think it has great spin ability. I think the dwell time is solid enough. Like I said, that's just something I'm getting used to a little more, but it's definitely not flying off the paddle like some other stuff that's out there. And I think personally that kind of caters more to my game. But outside of that, you know, I can't say enough how much I appreciate the shape that they're putting on, specifically the Vapor. This is probably my favorite shape of any paddle that's out there. And, you know, overall, I just feel like this is a great paddle. Those are my thoughts. Thanks to 11Six24 for sending us these paddles. Definitely planning on hitting them a lot more, trying to figure out what works best for me. Like I said, I'm more of an elongated guy, so I was thinking the Hirachi originally, but I do really like the look feel of the Vapor as well. So I'm looking forward to hitting these a little more, and I hope you guys like what you see and you consider checking out these paddles, because I think it's a good option on the market out there today.
With that being said, my favorite paddle of this line personally was the Vapor. It's the one I gravitate to the most. I prefer this colorway, so I've been using this one more than the white and the black one. But yours will look like this when you buy them at launch or after launch. But yeah, so that's my favorite of this line personally. I do think the Hirachi and Pegasus are also great paddles. There really is no wrong answer with this paddle line. It's personal preference. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button below. As always, thank you and stay pickleballing.
In the right spot.
This is after maybe 10, 15 minutes of hitting right here. There you go.
Yeah, there's the Vapor.
Look at that. There you go.